Sweat versus Painter, a fight for genuine equality in 1950s America. Although the Jim Crow laws stated that segregation was legal if the section for African Americans was of equal quality to the section for whites, some businesses and public institutions did not provide this equal experience, including the University of Texas. Heman Marion Sweat, an African American man of respectable education and family lines, brought the University of Texas to court when he was denied access to the all-white law school and told he could only participate in out-of-state programs, which were far less superior. This act, and later outcomes, advanced the civil rights movement in many ways. The court case was denied by the Texas state judicial system, but later brought to the Supreme Court, where it was scrutinized and studied for 6 months. After the case was decided, it was used as important evidence in future court cases in the civil rights movement. Heman Marion Sweat led a life that was influential in a quiet way, and his legacy was carried on by his grandnephew. This court case was very important to the outcome of events that shaped the civil rights movement drastically.
Heman Marion Sweat was born on December 12, 1912 in Houston, Texas, to James Sweat and Ella Perry. He was the fourth of 6 children, and they lived in a relatively integrated neighborhood. After graduating high school, he went to Wiley College from 1930 to 1934 and received a bachelor's degree in the arts. It was said that he was one of the brightest and best students there. In 1936, he became a teacher and a substitute principal. And in 1937, he enrolled in the University of Michigan, where he attended many challenging courses and maintained a B+ average. In 1938, he became a postal worker and decided to keep that job instead of attending another year at UMI. Sweat married Constantine Michelle in 1940 and started to gather interest in law when he fought against discrimination against black people in the postal union. After realizing his love for law, he applied to the University of Texas. The university denied his application because he was black and told him that the only programs available to him would be out of state. Upon hearing this, Sweat went to the Attorney General, who said that the school was in the right. Sweat then took the case to the Supreme Court, where it was decided that it would be heard.
After Sweat applied to the Texas School of Law and was denied, he challenged the separate but equal doctrine. This was then taken to state trial court. The state trial court saw that the state was denying Sweat a legal education while granting it to others, disprivileging him the equal opportunity of laws protected by the 14th Amendment. Following the trial, respondents reported the opening of a Texas law school that accepted Negroes. After the law school opened, it was clear that it was not equal to the Texas School of Law. Sweat was then offered $27,000 to drop all lawsuits, but rejected it and decided to sue Theophilus Painter, the president of the university. This case was bitterly vetoed by the Texas District Court, but swiftly moved on to the Supreme Court. In time, on June 5, 1950, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of Sweat, saying that blacks-only law school was not equal to the Texas School of Law. The Supreme Court also ruled that the university must accept Sweat as a student. Sweat then attended the school he fought so hard and bravely to go to.
This Sweat versus Painter court case really paved the way for desegregation for public education. In fact, this court case also helped as a precedent for the Brown versus the Board of Education decision. Not only that, but Sweat's legacy carried on throughout his life and still does today. For instance, the UT School of Law has a professorship and scholarship named after Sweat. The school also organized a yearly discussion on the effect of the Sweat case on the diversity in education. In Sweat's honor, the Travis County Courthouse was renamed, and a bronze plaque with his story is outside the entrance. It is safe to say that Sweat has made a very lasting impact, and it still lingers today.
This case was very influential to other cases and to the civil rights movement in itself. It proved that even though segregation was legal, if opportunities provided could be considered of the same value, African Americans were not given opportunities of equal worth, and that the only way to provide equal opportunities was to integrate the nation and to treat everyone, no matter what race, fairly. Sweat's legacy is being carried on through his grandnephew, Heman Marion Sweat II. Sweat, too, was born on June 30th, 1950, and looked up to his great-uncle like a hero. He attended the University of Texas in 1968, 18 years after his great-uncle did. Even though the environment of UT was more open, Sweat, too, still felt like an outcast. Everything the black students gained on UT campus had to be petitioned for, said Sweat, too, when describing his experience at UT. Color of the skin doesn't determine how much knowledge you gain or how educated you are.
In conclusion, the Sweat versus Painter case had a huge impact on desegregating America. It not only proved that the Jim Crow laws weren't as functional as they seemed, but it also provided strong evidence in the most influential court cases of the time.
Thanks for watching!